Hey everyone, it's Carissa Wiley here for My Favorite Things. Thanks for joining me today. In this month's edition of Sparkle and Shine, we are creating an adorable shaker card featuring the Café All Day Die set and the Cup of Love stamp set, and we're going to be doing a little ink blending to get this started. So I have a piece of Neenah Solar White cardstock. It is cut to, I think it's about 2 1/4 by 3 1/4 or something like that. It's just a little bit bigger than the coffee cup. And I've gone ahead and just protected my work surface with an easy clean mat, and I have a piece of scrap paper off to the side. And I'm going to use 3 colors of Distress Oxide inks to blend onto this small little panel that I'm creating here. And to do my ink blending today, I am using a blending brush. Now, you don't have to use a blending brush for this. I really like the soft effects that I get when using a blending brush. But other options in lieu of a blending brush would be like a blending sponge or a mini ink applicator, something like that. You could even use a makeup sponge. I've used those in the past and those work as well. So you just kind of have to find what works for you as far as blending is concerned. Sometimes paper and ink combinations can really make a big difference in the results that you get when you're doing some ink blending. So if you're not getting the results that you want, try something like a Bristol Smooth cardstock. That may give you a little bit smoother blending results. Now we're going to kick this into turbo speed here to finish up the ink blending. I've gone from light to dark because when I get my coffees, they pour the cream right on top and it's lightest at the top and darkest at the bottom. So I figured that really just made sense for my ink blending here. And I did go back and forth between the colors a little bit to get the blend really nice and smooth. Then I'm just going to clean up my mat, and I am going to clean up my brush just using a baby wipe here, and then I'll set that aside to dry. Now, if I want to deep clean my brush, I can take it to my sink and use some soap and warm water for that. Now I've grabbed a few colors of some peachy coral cardstock. The first one is coral. I also have In the Buff and Peach Parfait. Is it Peach Parfait? I don't know. It's peach, In the Buff, and some sort of coral. They're all from My Favorite Things. I've also cut down a really small strip of cactus cardstock, which is a nice green, and a small strip of gold glitter cardstock. And I am going to take and add some tape runner adhesive to the back of these strips of cardstock. I've cut them to varying widths, ranging from about 1/2 inch to anywhere to like 1/8 inch. That's the smallest piece, the green and the gold glitter. And I am just kind of adding these on an angle onto this panel of Neenah Solar White cardstock that's cut to 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches. And I'm just going to butt them up right up next to each other, make sure that I create a really cool color blocked kind of ray effect. Now, this would also be really cool with like a rainbow theme or an ombre theme, which is kind of what I'm doing here, but I've added in a couple of additional colors. And these strips would really be great for stamping various sentiments, or you could add a little bit of texture using a background stamp. Really, there's a lot of things that you can do with these multicolored strips, and putting them at different angles just kind of adds a fun twist to it. So once I have those all onto my piece of Neenah Solar White cardstock that's cut to 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches, I'm going to take the Café All Day Die and I'm going to die cut my coffee cup shaped window from this card front panel. And I'm just kind of holding my ink blended piece behind it to make sure I have everything where I want it to be. I can add a little more ink blending if I need to. And while I was die cutting, I also die cut the whipped cream, which is from the Café All Day Die set, the clear cold cut lid, which is also from the Café All Day Die set, and then I die cut the straw as well out of some gold glitter cardstock because you know that those metal straws are all the rage. And so I thought this would be my own kind of metallic gold straw here. And I think it's so much fun. Now I have the coffee cup shaker here, and I'm just adding some 1/8 inch score tape all around the edges of that, and I can nestle that into the window that I've created on my card front here, and I'm just going to press that into place. And if you've never used the My Favorite Things shaker pouches, they are excellent for creating quick and easy shaker windows. Now I'm going to trim down my straw and put it into the cup. I saw Laura Basson do this earlier this month, and I just had to copy her because I adore her. And I'm just going to glue that onto this back panel of my shaker window using a little bit of liquid glue. And I'm just going to kind of do that at an angle. I probably should have done it at less of an angle because of where the opening is on the lid, but that's just between me and you. Nobody else is going to notice, right? Now, once I have that adhered, I'm going to use some foam tape to adhere my whipped cream right above the cup. And I'm going to add a little sparkle to it using my Tonic Aqua Shimmer pen here. And I'm going to do a little bit of shading on it as well. Now, the dye creates some embossed or debossed lines on the whipped cream that add a little bit of texture to it. But to really make that stand out, if you take a little Copic marker and just add a little bit of shading, that really adds some depth and dimension to that. Now, to adhere this clear cold cup lid on top of my whipped cream, I just used a tiny dot of glossy accents. And yes, you can see that adhesive through that clear acetate, but I'm going to fix that in just a little bit. So just hang in here with me, and I promise we won't have any unsightly adhesive showing on our finished card project. So for the back of my card, I'm actually going to use some foam adhesive. Now, you don't have to use foam adhesives when you're using the shaker windows or those shaker pouches. But because I want to put some shaker guts into this card that are a little bit deeper, these little clear stones here, I did decide to go ahead and add some foam adhesive to the back of my card. And I made sure that all around my cup window, that foam adhesive is touching, so there's no gaps for my shaker guts to escape from. Now, once I have all of my foam adhesive on the back of my card front, I can go ahead and add this little backer here to close or seal up my shaker window there. And then I'm going to flip this over and I'm going to add some liquid glue to this little scrap of the straw that I have left and put it coming out of the top of that whipped cream, also inspired by the lovely Laura Basson. And I'll just press that onto my card front. Now, for my shaker bits, I did use some clear rhinestones and some adorable acrylic hearts from My Favorite Things. So I have a few hearts in there, and I'm going to use another one of those hearts to hide the glossy accent adhesive that I put onto that clear acetate lid that I cut. So that's how I'm going to disguise that there. Now, for the sentiment on the front of my card, I am using the Cup of Love stamp set, and I'm going to heat emboss this onto those angled strips of cardstock, and I wanted this to be able to fit within that area. So I just took my scissors and trimmed this sentiment in half. So I have two pieces that I can stamp into that area to the left of my cup there. I prepped the surface using a powder tool and then inked up my stamp using some Versamark ink. And then I'm going to add my gold embossing powder and I'm going to heat set that. And that just says, sending you a cup of love, which I thought was perfect with those little heart pieces that are inside the shaker window there. So now that my card front is ready, I can go ahead and adhere it onto a top folding A2 size card base that I created with some Neenah Solar White heavyweight cardstock. I'm going to finish off the front of my card with another one of these hearts that I'm adhering with some glossy accents. And I have a little gold twine bow that I've also adhered and a few little sequins sprinkled about on the front of my card as well. And that finishes off my adorable coffee shaker card. It's got tons of ice in it because every time I go to Starbucks, they put a ton of ice in my iced coffee. And so I figured I might as well put a ton of quote unquote ice in my little shaker card here as well. As always, I will have links to the featured products in the description at YouTube. So if you're looking for something specific, be sure to check there. Thanks for stopping by and watching today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to the My Favorite Things YouTube channel so you won't miss any of the fabulous card making and paper crafting video tutorials here. As always, thanks again for watching and hanging out with me today. And until next time, I hope you have a fabulous day.